Oh, Corrie fans, buckle up. Next week on the Cobbles is one of those weeks where you think, surely they can't top last week's drama. And then they go and prove you wrong. Affairs being rumbled, health scares, romantic sparks, and an exit that's going to leave a gap in the street. There's mischief, heartbreak, and a few moments where you'll be shouting at the telly. Let's go through it all, spoiler by spoiler. And trust me, there's a lot to chew over here. 1. Tracy rumbles Abi's affair with Carl. We've all seen Abi walk a fine line before, but this time she might have pushed it too far. It starts off with Carl, who's meant to be keeping a low profile, getting a bit too friendly with Tracy. He even lets slip his hotel room number. And while he tells Abi it was all just a cover, you can already see the trouble brewing. Carl tries to make it look like he's got eyes only for Abi, even turning Tracy down when she turns up unexpectedly. But you know Tracy? Once she smells drama, she's not letting go. And things take a turn when she spots Abi somewhere she really shouldn't be after a supposed secret night with Carl. By the time Carl and Abi share that not-so-innocent hug at home, Tracy's watching from the window with that look, the one that says she's already planning how to use this information. If Tracy spills what she's seen, Kevin's whole world could blow apart. And you just know Tracy loves being the one holding the match. 2. Debbie collapses. And Carl's right there, from Abi's mess straight to Debbie, who's been running herself ragged lately. Ronnie's already worried she's overdoing it, but when he tries to help, Debbie bites back. The next day, she pops into the Webster house to do a bit of cleaning, only to suddenly get dizzy and collapse. And guess who's there? Carl. Not exactly the person you want finding you in that state, especially when he's supposed to be miles away and not sneaking around with your sister-in-law. He checks she's breathing, then slinks off upstairs before Abi comes home and calls the ambulance. At the hospital, Debbie plays it down, tells everyone she's fine. But she's also living with a dementia diagnosis, so this isn't just a drink some water and rest situation. And while Carl's acting like the concerned family friend, he's really masking the fact he's part of a much bigger problem for the Websters. So that's 2 big secrets swirling in the Webster household already. But next week, the Cobbles aren't just about family drama. There's work trouble, unexpected romance, and a teenage tearaway who's about to cause chaos. 3. Kit's in trouble. And digging into Becky's past, Kit's week starts with him messing up Sarah's business meeting. She's trying to win over a client, Ely, but Kit's already given him grief outside. By the time Eli realizes Kit's her boyfriend, it's awkward enough to sink the deal. And just when Sarah thinks it can't get worse, Eli starts spreading nasty rumors about her. Sarah's furious, not just with Kit, but with David for giving out his details in the first place. And the fallout doesn't stop there. D.I. Costello warns Lisa Swain to keep her distance from Kit, hinting at trouble ahead. Then Costello hauls Kit in over claims of intimidation, benches him to desk duty, and tells him to leave a certain old case alone. But Kit being Kit, he's not dropping it. He's convinced there's a link to a historic case Becky Swain, Lisa's late wife, was working on. He's snooping in places he's not supposed to, which means if he's right, the truth could rock the street. If he's wrong, well, let's just say his career's hanging by a thread. 4. Dee shares a kiss with new client Ollie D. Dee hasn't had much going on in the romance department lately, so the spark she feels when she meets Ollie catches her a bit off guard. He's a new client, and from the first moment it's obvious there's something between them. Trouble is, it's that awkward mix where you know there's chemistry, but you also know you probably shouldn't act on it. She's got her sensible head telling her to keep things professional, but you can tell her heart's not entirely on board with that plan. They both agree to keep it above board, but you can imagine how long that lasts. One moment they're just talking, the next Ollie leans in and kisses her. It's one of those situations where you can almost see Dee's brain trying to slam the brakes on while her heart's flooring the accelerator. She's been hurt before, and she even admits to James that the idea of opening herself up again scares her. You can't really blame her. We've all seen how badly relationships can crash and burn on the street. Then there's the moment Ollie bumps into her, when she's out with baby Layla. It's not awkward in a bad way, but it's definitely a bit of a curveball for him. Dee-Dee decides to just be straight with him, explains what's what, and suggests they go for a drink so she can fill in the rest. That alone shows there's trust starting to build. But is it enough to overcome the fact that they're mixing work with personal feelings? This could go either way. On one hand, it could be the start of something lovely for Dee-Dee, who deserves a bit of happiness. On the other, the client-lawyer thing is a big risk, and in Soapland, those risks often blow up in spectacular fashion. Viewers will definitely have opinions on whether she should follow her heart or stick to the rules. Because whichever way she turns, you know there's going to be fallout. 5. Brody caught in a dodgy scheme. Brody Michaelis has been trouble since the day he showed up, and next week he's about to prove it again. Carl catches him about to nick a fancy car and warns him he'll end up back in the secure training center. But instead of steering him straight, Carl offers to teach him an easier way to steal because clearly Carl hasn't got enough bad decisions on his plate already. Meanwhile, Brody's foster family, Tim and Sally Metcalf, find out he's been plotting to run off with his younger sisters. The dream shatters when he has to tell them their mum's been sentenced to 4 years inside. Sally tries to comfort them, but then a scream rings out from the garden. We don't know what's happened yet, but if it's anything like Brody's usual antics, it won't be something easily swept under the rug. This could be the start of even more trouble for the Metcalfes. 6. Steve caught in a very awkward moment now. Here's one for the lighter side of things. Although Tyrone might not find it funny, Steve's trying to patch things up with him after a recent bit of chaos, so he turns up with some ledger. But then Cassie Plummer asks him to show off his pole dancing moves. And of course, Steve being Steve, he's straight in there having a laugh. Trouble is, they get caught mid-performance, and in various stages of undress by Tyrone himself. You can imagine his face. The big question is whether Cassie can smooth it over enough to stop Steve from getting kicked out completely. 7. Aadi says goodbye finally, a moment that's going to hit a lot of fans in the heart. Aadi's leaving the street. He tells Dev and Asha that the police have let him off with just a caution, but he's decided it's time for a fresh start. His cousin Vikram in India has offered him a chance, and Aadi's taking it. Asha's gutted. She and Aadi have always had that special twin bond, and even though Dev's proud he's making his own decisions, it's bittersweet. Whether he'll be back one day, who knows. But for now, it's one less familiar face in the Rovers or behind the shop counter. So there you have it. A week of affairs being exposed, health scares that could change lives, police investigations digging up old ghosts, teenage trouble that could get nasty, and a goodbye that's going to leave a gap in the street. It's classic Corrie, a mix of heartbreak, mischief, and those little moments that remind you why we've been watching for years. If you've got theories about what Tracy's going to do with her big secret, or whether Dee-Dee and Ollie could actually work out, pop them in the comments. I love hearing your takes. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that bell so you never miss your weekly dose of Cobbles chaos. Until next week, keep the kettle on and keep watching.